Welcome to another leather craft tutorial by Leatherworks. In this video, I will be making a board game that is very popular in southern Africa, called Morabaraba. The game is very similar to 12 Men's Morris. This is a laser cut pattern. The pattern is available in DXF and Lightburn file formats from our website or Etsy store. I used the extended X-Tool D1 Pro laser machine with a 40-watt laser module for this project, and work in Lightburn. Please take care to set up your laser machine to the best settings to achieve similar results, as what I am going to be showing in this video. Cutting the game board. This is my setup for the project in Lightburn. The dimensions of the game board is 357 mm by 357 mm. The yellow and light blue lines on the pattern are set to offset fill. The pattern has been designed for the offset fill, because engraving the inner lines using only a fill takes an extremely long time. The orange lines, or the text, has been set to fill. And the dark blue lines are the areas to be cut, and is set to line. This is what the job's preview looks like. For offset fill and fill layers, I have turned the air off. On my setup, the airflow is not managed through Lightburn, so I manually ensure the air is turned off during the engraving, and turned on during the cutting phase of the project. Here's a look at the settings I have used on my X-Tool. But you must set your settings to what works for your laser machine. Place the leather on the honeycomb, flesh side up, and ensure it is laying flat. I use magnets to keep everything in place. You want to use leather with a nice smooth flesh side, as this is the side that the board game will be engraved on. Set the height of the laser head. I use absolute coordinates, so I send the laser head to home, and then frame the job to ensure everything is aligned properly, then start the laser job. Engraving with the air on causes some of the engraved soot to be blown onto the outer edges of the engraving lines, making the leather look dirty. And this is difficult to clean, so turning off the air prevents this soot spilling over onto the unengraved parts of the leather. See how clean the leather is next to the engraved lines. This is because the air was off. However, if you had to rub on the engraved lines, you will dirty the leather, because that soot is still lying in the engraved lines. To remove the soot, firstly, I use a medium tack masking tape, and tape over the engraved areas and pull off the tape. I advise you to first test this on a scrap piece of leather. If the tape is too tacky, it will pull a lot of the fibers of the leather up. It is also advised to pull the tape off in the same direction each time. Here I pulled the tape off in the opposite direction. You can see a slight difference in the leather because of this. Using a clean damp cloth, clean the cut edges of the leather. You will need to do a few passes to ensure all the soot is wiped off. Lastly, I use hairspray to coat the engraved parts. Please test this on a scrap piece of leather. I used an aerosol hairspray. Liberally spray the leather and leave it to dry. The two slits that have been cut in the game board are for the leather strap that is used to close the game board for storing. For this, hand cut a strap of leather of about 90 centimeters in length, and the width to fit the slots. I choose to hand cut this strip, so that the edges aren't black from the laser, which can easily give off soot on one's hands, or on the project. Cutting the game pieces, also called cows, I used 6mm superwood for the cows. The Lightburn setup consists of two layers. One is an offset fill, and the other is a line, or cut, layer. The offset fill layer is set to create a relatively deep engraving. The preview of one of the cows shows how the laser will process this job. If I move the cut line for a moment, and look at the offset fill layer, the laser sees the filled sections as follows. From the first line to the second line is filled. After the second line, it will not fill. Then after the third line it will fill again. After the next line it will not fill. This is illustrated when previewing the offset fill layer only. Here is a look at the settings I have used in Lightburn. For the game, you will need a total of 24 cows. 12 cows per color. Before cutting the cows, prepare the wood by painting it. I painted both sides of the wood. I used acrylic paint, and painted a light sealer over the top. Once the paint is dry, proceed with the laser job. Set the height of the laser, and frame the job. Warning: the laser light is bright in the next part of the video. Once cut, use a damp cloth and clean the pieces well, rinsing the cloth regularly. The final touches: use the printable PDF included in the pattern pack and print the game instructions on cardstock. Use a craft knife, glue, and a ruler to cut and glue the cardstock as shown here. Then punch an oval hole into the small card, to thread it onto the leather strip. Now all that is left is to assemble the pieces. I packaged the cows in resealable plastic bags. Fold the game board as shown here. Well done, you have made a leather Morabaraba game set. How to play Morabaraba. Setup. 2 players start with 12 pieces, often called cows, of their color. The game is played on a board with 24 points of intersection. Phase 1. Placing pieces. Players take turns placing their pieces on empty intersection points on the board. The goal is to create a mill by placing 3 pieces in a row, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. If a player creates a mill, they can remove one of their opponent's pieces, and this piece cannot be reused. Phase 2. Moving pieces. Once all pieces are placed, players take turns moving their pieces to adjacent empty intersection points on the board. If a move creates a mill, the player can remove one of their opponent's pieces. A player can move their pieces back and forth on the same intersection point repeatedly, creating and breaking mills. Special rules. A player can't remove a piece that is part of a mill unless all of their opponent's pieces are in mills. Only one opponent's piece can be removed per turn, even if multiple mills are created. Winning the game. A player wins if they reduce their opponent to 2 pieces, or if their opponent has no legal moves. If both players have 3 pieces each and neither can remove an opponent's piece within 10 moves, the game is a draw. We hope you have enjoyed this leather craft tutorial on how to make and play Morabaraba. We kindly ask that you like and share this video. Thanks for watching.